Hello again. Creaky chair, sorry. It is still Wednesday, the 22nd of April. I nearly said March then. Definitely not March anymore. 22nd of April. This is part 2 of episode 42, I think, of my podcast. I'm not going to do a proper intro because it was in part 1. I'm just going to dive straight in. I'm going to be talking about my latest bits of spinning, some incoming goodies, and then just a big life update for anyone who is interested. If you're not, then you don't have to watch that bit. As ever, there'll be timestamps so you can skip about nice and easily if you want to. I need to retrieve something from a box that I forgot to get out before I started recording, so I'll be back in like a millisecond with that. Okay, spinning. I needed to retrieve this because I had left it in the box. I may have shown you this last time. I can't remember what stage it was at then. It may not have been completely finished. That bit's not very neat. Well, just hide that. Just wait to show you that bit. This is the finished skein of the Glitzy Raven hand spun yarn. I can't tell how well the shine is showing up on camera for you. It is gorgeous. This is a blend of mostly check details before I speak. 70% merino wool, 30% rainbow trilobal nylon, so the colours shift through it, which is why it's called Glitzy Raven, because it's a bit like a raven's wing. I looked up what trilobal nylon is last night because I've been talking about it for ages and I didn't have a clue. It is, as you would expect, a nylon fibre. But it has the fibre strands have a triangular cross section instead of, I think normally it'd be a round or flat, one or the other. But the cross section is triangular and that's what makes it so shiny. So again, I don't know how well you can see the shine. It's not like a high shine, glossy sparkliness, but it just, it adds depth and interest, and it's just lovely. And because it's merino and nylon blend, and the nylon, the proportion of nylon, there we go, is reasonably high, it should make really, really good socks. So at some point I'm going to make socks with this, and I think they're going to be gorgeous. So I will show you them when I do. I have 2 other bits of spinning to show you. They are both not finished, but that's okay. Have I got the packet that went with this one? Yes, I have, so I can tell you about the blend again. This is at the moment just a single. I'll try and catch the light for you so you can see the colours. And this colourway is called Mrs. Claus. It is, of course, from World of Wool, where I get most of my fibre at the moment. Not all of it, but most of it. And this is going to stay as a single for a little bit because I hadn't planned to spin this yet. I was going to get to it eventually, but it wasn't in the queue. But my dad and my stepmom, who bought me my e-spinner for Christmas, asked if I would demonstrate the process for them. And I didn't want to take the spin that I'll show you in a moment because this is going to sound awful, but if they or my husband or my son had wanted to have a try, didn't want that spin to get ruined. You'll see why in a minute. So I thought I'd take some different fibre, start from scratch as well, then they could see literally from the very beginning of the process all the way through. And also because it wasn't anything I had a specific plan for, it wouldn't really matter if we lost some of the fibre or if the yarn wasn't very consistent or whatever. Turns out they didn't want to have a go, they just wanted to watch me, so it would have been fine. But yeah, so I'm going to leave it as a single for now because they also want to see the plying process. We didn't have time this time to get to that part. But yeah, they want to see. I was struggling to explain chain plying to them. And so I want to demonstrate that for them next time I see them. That's all spun up. And it's been a really, really gorgeous blend to spin because it is quite smooth and silky. It is a blend. I don't know the percentages. So one complaint with these little packs that were from the Advent last year, I got them in the sale in February, is that they've got the write out the blend of the fibres, but they don't put the percentages on, so I don't know exactly how much there is of each. Not that it really matters, but it's just a little niggle. But this is a blend of merino, faux angora, which is, I think it's nylon, but created in a specific way to mimic real angora. Trilobal nylon again, and tussar silk. So it has been so smooth, and apart from the odd little bit, I find silk tends to bunch up a bit and can get a bit hard to draft, but for the most part it's drafted really well, really smoothly. It's spun really smoothly. It feels gorgeous. I cannot wait to see what it feels like when the yarn is finished. It should be soft and smooth, but also quite strong because of the nylon. Was I going to say anything else about that one? I don't think so. So that's Mrs. Claus. And then I am in the process of spinning and knocking things over the latest instalment of the Magical Worlds Fibre Club from Laura at Folk Yarn Studio. This is the March fibre. I'm falling behind a little in my plan for this, but it's not too bad yet, and I might be able to catch up. And if I can't, I can't. It's not the end of the world. This is, excuse me, random coughing fit. This is the colourway The Galaxy. And I am attempting a fractal spin with this one, 3-ply. So this is the first bobbin, this is complete. And then I'm about halfway through, just under halfway through, spinning the second bobbin. And then I've got one more to do. I can't easily get to the fibre. I was going to show you what the fibre looks like unspun, but I'll maybe pop a picture in for you. And then yeah, I'll do I'll apply them all together, and hopefully I've got a good I'll have a good distribution of colour through doing the fractal method, which I'm not going to explain. If you are into spinning and you don't know what fractal spinning is yet, look it up. It's a method I learned about quite recently, and it's just one way of managing colour, basically. What was I going to say? I think this is 100% Corriedale wool, so it's not as smooth to spin as the other one that I've just shown you, but it is very easy to draft, and I'm managing again to get a pretty consistent weight. I think with this it's looking pretty good, and the colours are just gorgeous, so pretty. So I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, again, looking forward to seeing how it turns out once I've got it all spun up. I will keep you posted. Right, that is it for spinning. So, a little bit about incoming goodness. I mentioned, I think briefly in the first part, we had a little trip away before Easter. We went down to the Midlands, West Midlands in particular, but the Midlands generally, which is where Lay Family Yarn are located. And so I sent Kelly a message a day or two before we went saying, look, we're going to be in the area, can I pop by and see you? She went, yeah, of course, great, it'd be lovely to meet you. And then of course I had to convince my husband that he was willing to drive me to their studio, which didn't take too much convincing actually. I'm very grateful to him because it was a bit of a drive from where we were staying, and because we had plans, we kind of had to figure out when we were going to go, and we ended up doing it on the way home on Thursday, and it was a little bit out of the way. But he's usually fairly willing to indulge my yarny nonsense, and I'm very glad to say he was this time. So we went and saw Kelly. Nick wasn't there. Megan, I glimpsed Megan in the background. She was in the actual dyeing studio. We just hung out in the shop with Kelly and Jeff, the dog, for a little bit. He's adorable, by the way. I did take a little video of him that I think I put up on Instagram, but I will try and add it in here for you as well. I'll either pop it up while I'm chatting or I'll break. And just kind of, there'll be a video and then I'll come back.
Sit down.
Look at him being so good. Well done, Jeff.
Good boy.
Beautiful.
Good boy.
And so of course I had to buy some yarn. Not just yarn, in fact. I'll very quickly show you. First of all, I bought this very gorgeous pom-pom. Look at that colour, isn't it? Just lovely. So these are not made by Nick or Kelly, but they are sold in their shop. Who is it from actually? I don't know, but it's got instructions about how to attach it. That's good. It's got a ribbon, so you can just tie it on with the ribbon. I don't actually know who that's by. Never mind. So I bought 2 little sets of yarn while I was there. Oh, and there, that way up, there's the logo for you. I hope that shows. This is a words sock set from the Dahlia Society Club that they are running at the moment, and this is the colourway Black Pierre, and I just really loved that colour. The light has changed again, but hopefully that's showing up reasonably well for you. And then it's got this little contrast mini to go with, so you can do contrast heels, toes, cuffs, whatever you want to do. It's just gorgeous. I think that is just your bog standard sock yarn. Yeah, 75% merino, 25% nylon, 4-ply, because that's how I roll. And then they have just started dyeing up self-striping yarn. Look at the label. How cool is that? Stripy labels. And I knew I wanted to get some of their self-striping yarn, and I actually got it slightly early because they had it in the shop, which, oh no, complicated, never mind, but not up on the website on the day that I went. I was a day early. So yeah, this is exciting. This is if there's a 50 gram skein of the striped, and then a 20 gram skein for again toes, heels, whatever. It's again designed as a sock set. And again, I just really, really love the colours. This one is called Jester. They've got a few different colourways that have been shown on Instagram and should now be up on the website for you to view. And it's just lovely. That's the contrast. Again, same blend of merino and nylon. Perfect for socks. Very, very happy. And that's it. That's all I've got for incoming. This time I have been reasonably restrained. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I've got any more. So I'm going to quickly tidy these away. I'm going to get something nice and quick and simple to work on while I give you a life update, because there's a few bits and bobs to tell you about. Okay, I've chosen the granny wrap to work on while I'm chatting because I don't have to think about it too much. I can just let my hands do their thing, and I can occasionally look up at you while I'm working. Because I'm crocheting while I talk, I won't be looking at the camera as much, so I hope that doesn't bother you too much. But I just wanted to have something in my hands to work on while I'm chatting, because it actually means that I don't lose my train of thought so often, which is a weird thing, but hey, it's how my brain works and I'm going with it. So a few bits and bobs to talk about. First of all, I think the last time I did a proper episode I had just sprained my left ankle quite badly while very, very drunk on a night out. A very fun night out. I think that was pretty fresh at the time. That is pretty much fully recovered now. The ankle is fine. But I have been insanely accident prone over the last few weeks, and since then I have sprained my left wrist, which, as you can see, obviously wasn't too bad a sprain. It is again pretty much recovered. It aches a bit sort of across here if I overdo things, but it's mostly fine. But that was while setting up for the craft market on the 12th. Literally about half an hour into the setup as well, so I was then more or less useless. Other people had to do things for me. I'm very, very grateful to those people who stepped in, and to Kelvin for dashing off up the road to get me a wrist support and some deep freeze so I could actually function. Because yeah, it was really, really sore for the rest of that day and the next day. But like I say, it is getting better. And I then, on the Thursday before Easter, on our way home from my little trip away, fell down a step and sprained my right ankle. Whoops. Not as bad a sprain, I think, as the left one, but it also may just have been that, it was during daylight hours and I didn't go straight to bed after doing it. I was moving about for the rest of that day very carefully. So it's still, depending on what I do, I can't really walk very far at the moment without it being a problem. I did the school run yesterday, didn't walk too far at all, got the bus there and back. But by the end of the evening, the ankle was quite sore again. So I do just need to watch what I'm doing. But yeah, I don't know what's going on at the moment. I seem to be bumping into things a lot, falling over a lot. I cut my finger, not very badly, thankfully, on a knife yesterday while loading the dishwasher. Just, I don't know if it's a hormonal thing or what is going on. But it has literally been the last 4 weeks, just over 4 weeks, about a month. So yeah, hopefully I'll still be alive next time I speak to you. And hopefully I won't have any more major injuries to report. Wish me luck, please. All positive vibes welcome. Right, the market was mostly a success again, thankfully. Again, big thank you to all my vendors who showed up and were friendly and professional and helpful, and just they're all wonderful people. If you are a vendor of mine and you're watching this, thank you and I love you and yay. And it was quite a quiet day, quieter than February, which did surprise me a bit. Can't really say exactly why. There was another event going on in the town centre, which may have pulled people away, but it also actually may have brought more people into town, so that could have swung it either way. I don't know. The weather was pretty good, so again, that's either brought people in town or has taken them away from town, but I don't, it's impossible to say. I personally made a couple of sales from my stall, and I know at least a couple of the other vendors did really well, made loads of sales, but I think for most of us it was a pretty low sale day, which isn't great. But we've all we've all got our names out there a bit more, made people aware of who we are and what we do, so I still count it as a success. And yeah, that's another one done. And kind of on to the next one now. Next one is just before, in fact no, it's the weekend of Father's Day in June. I think Saturday is the 14th. Same venue as per usual. If you are watching this and you own a local business, you can, there's plenty of spaces left for the June one at the moment. There will be a link in the description to my event page, so you can go on and book your place. All the information that you need should be on there, but if I've missed anything or you've got any extra questions, just drop me an email and I will get back to you. And if you don't own a business but you're just going to be in the area on the 14th, feel free to pop along and say hi. It would be lovely to meet you if we haven't met already. It'd be lovely to see you again if we have. The holiday, little holiday, that was a lot of fun. We thought we'd have a few little days away because we don't really know whether we're going to get the chance for any other holidays this year. And we ended up going, like I think I've already mentioned, down to the Midlands, which is a few hours drive from us, but it's not too far. We stayed just in a Premier Inn, Ned's favourite hotel chain. Don't ask me why, but I'm not complaining. It's cheap, relatively speaking. And we stayed in Dudley. I'm not going to do the accent. I'm no good at accents. And we visited Dudley Zoo and Castle, which was wonderful. And we also then the following day visited the West Midlands Safari Park. We do have a bit of a tradition, which started well before Ned was born. It's a me and Kelvin thing that has just become extended since Ned came along, where every single holiday we go on, we find a zoo or a wildlife park or something like that, aquarium, whatever, to visit, just because we love animals. It was always a fun day. I don't think we've done 2 in one holiday before. And bearing in mind we were only away for 3 nights. That was quite an achievement. I will put some photos and bits and bobs up while I'm chatting. I'm going to get mixed up about which animals we saw where probably, but we saw so many tigers, and they were like out and about and showing off and being adorable. Female tiger at Dudley Zoo, just behaving like a big cat over on her back like this, chilling out in the sunshine. Oh, so beautiful. And the male tiger clearly waiting for lunchtime, pacing backwards and forwards, showing a lot of interest in all of us watching. And then more tigers at the safari the next day. Big male white tiger, again sort of doing laps of his enclosure. He was stunning because that was on the safari drive. He was behind a fence, but we could get really close without bothering him. Now, just to be clear, all the animals we saw were clearly comfortable, well looked after. They weren't stressed. They were all well looked after, and both the zoo and the safari place, a huge emphasis on conservation and animal welfare and all of that. So if anyone watching this who's thinking, oh, zoos, horrible places, blah, 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 I totally get where you're coming from, but these two were brilliant. So please don't worry about the animals. They've clearly all been really well treated. The white tiger was super impressive, and then they've also got a mother and two baby tigers there at the moment who we didn't see like out and about because the babies are really quite small still, so she's keeping them tucked away in the little house sleeping area bit that they've got. But they had a live feed up, so you could still see them, obviously again without bothering them at all. So not quite the same as seeing them for real, but much better for the animals, so I will take it. And it was lovely to see them. These two little tiger cubs just snuggling up with their mum was beautiful. What else did we see? All kinds of things. Dhole, which I hadn't even heard of before. They're an Indian wild dog, I think. They were really fun. They were in the safari. And what other bits were... There's one bit I'm going to mention in a minute that's my absolute favourite experience ever. That's not true, but it's definitely it's up there. It's a contender. We also saw penguins. I've got a lovely little video of Ned making friends with a penguin. The lemur enclosures in both places. The lemurs, you can literally, because as long as you don't aggravate them, which I hope nobody ever does, but we certainly wouldn't, lemurs are so unbothered by people. You can just walk through their enclosure and they're within the enclosure running wild, literally. They will come right up to you. It's incredible. Ned and I have fed lemurs at the Yorkshire Wildlife Park, which is our closest. A year ago, maybe 2 years ago now. Gosh, time flies. Which was incredible, but we weren't doing that this time, and they still just this is me, this is the fence, there's a lemur. Literally right there. So again, got some amazing photos, and it just felt really, really cool. I'm sure I'm forgetting a whole bunch of things, but the bit I enjoyed the most, and I did this both at Dudley Zoo and at the West Midlands Safari Park, was feeding the lorikeets. If you don't know what a lorikeet is, there'll be pictures. They are, I'm assuming, related to parakeets. I don't know. But they are fairly small, very colourful tropical birds, I'm guessing, based on the enclosures and based on what we were feeding them. And in both places you can go into the enclosure and you can pay to take in a little pot of nectar, or two, as I did in the second one, and you walk in holding it and you get mobbed by birds, and they land on you and they feed from the nectar and they squabble with each other because, no, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, and you feel like a Disney princess. It is just, it was so fun, so fun. I could have stayed in there for hours both times. I didn't. Obviously you have to keep moving through, but yeah, I could go and do that just for ages. I think at one point I had 4 birds along this arm and one on my head at one point. I think that was in Dudley, it doesn't really matter. And then, to be honest, they'll land on you even if you haven't got the food. There was one at the safari park that just was sat on my head, rooting through my hair. Don't know why my hair was so interesting. Slightly worried, but it seems fine. Maybe it was nesting, I don't know. But I literally had to force it off my head. It wouldn't leave. I could have walked out of the enclosure with it still with me. Didn't, obviously. I walked around a bit and then just whoop. No, it didn't want to go. It was pecking at my finger to stop me removing it. But I was like, you've got to stay here, buddy, and I've got to go home. So, but yeah, I can highly recommend that experience. If unless you're scared of birds or something, don't do it then, obviously. But yeah, so fun, and the colours, you forget just how colourful these tropical birds can be. It's just, they almost don't look real, but they definitely were. What else was I going to tell you about? I'm sure there's a couple more bits. Let me just do this cluster and I shall check my notes. I have told you about the injuries and the holiday and the market. Oh gosh, lots of little bits. So I've said that Ned's birthday's coming up, but I will mention it again. My tiny baby boy is turning 9 on Saturday, which is just absolute headspin. He is super excited, of course. He's having a laser tag party at a venue near us. We've got a bunch of his friends coming. I'm in full cake planning, party bag planning mode at the moment, and just trying to make sure we have got all the presents that we want to get him. Trying not to go overboard. It's so easy to just keep buying stuff. I want to make sure he actually appreciates what he gets, so try not to go too crazy with it. But yeah, that's the excitement for this weekend. Some super good news we've just had. For a while now, Kelvin has been doing he's been acting as the team manager for his team at work, but it's been on a temporary basis. I won't go into all the ins and outs of why that was the case. It was very, in my opinion, overly complicated and confusing, but hey, whatever, it got him some management experience and a little bit of extra cash for the past 9 months or so. Yesterday morning it was confirmed that that change has now been made permanent, so he is officially the manager for that team, and they have very, very slightly increased his pay again in line with that. So that's just a bit of a relief, really, because we'd we'd got to the end of the temporary period. They said that, we need someone permanent now, and he had to reapply despite the fact that he's been doing the job for the last 9 months, which is just a bit crazy. But yeah, no problem, he's got it. It's all fine, we know what we're doing, we know he's got that position. Big sigh of relief all round. Celebrated with a takeaway last night. Other big news. I've mentioned a few times over the past few months that in fact over a year now, it's been in the works, that we are wanting to do some renovations to this house downstairs. Completely change the back of the house basically, and convert the double garage that we've got into a livable space as well. We have a potential date for the work to start. In theory, 21st of July. Obviously it depends. There are, the builder is doing another project at the moment, so it depends how that goes, and various other factors. But he's on board. We are next on his list. It is going to happen. Which is exciting and wonderful, and the end result will be amazing. We will have a house, the house we actually wanted when we moved 2 years ago. More than 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago, I think. So I'm looking forward to it being done. I'm not looking forward to the process. It's going to be very stressful for a while it's happening. There's going to be a lot of noise and a lot of, much less privacy. There will be strangers in my house, which I don't like. But, it needs to happen. It needs to happen. It may mean a change to the podcast schedule for a while, because I probably won't really be able to record during the day. During the week, during the day anyway. So I'll either shift it to the weekends, or I'll just record it in the evening. When they've all gone home, I'll work that out as we go. But yeah, we've now got lots of decisions to make, like what we actually want to do with the kitchen, and make sure we get things ordered. It's going to be a lot to deal with, but once it's done, we will have a big open plan kitchen diner that will be really lovely to use. We will have a brand new utility room that will be set out in the way that I want, so I can use it the way I want to, and we will have a whole brand new extra livable space, which is going to be Kelvin's hobby room, which means all his clutter can get out of the house and into that room. So yeah, it's going to be really, really good. If I for the second half of this year, if I seem particularly stressed at any point, that'll be why. Right, what else was I going to say? I'm sure there was something else as well. Oh yeah, business. So I think I mentioned at the beginning of part 1 that changes afoot with the business. This isn't an official announcement. I am teaming up with the ever wonderful Gemma of Yorkshire Indie, who runs amazing workshops for small businesses, and you should go if you can, because she's incredible. She's so knowledgeable, and so happy to share that knowledge with everyone. She has also become a very, very good friend recently. She's an absolutely wonderful person, and and yeah, she, you know, it's her job, it's what she does, but she's going to help me out basically with some business stuff, and I'm going to be having a complete rebrand, a complete change of what I do in terms of making and selling things. Up until now, my business has been making and attempting to sell, big clue in that phrase, crocheted items. I've been through a few iterations, but yeah, most recently home furnishings, your cushions, your table cloths, you know, all that sort of thing. And for the most part I've enjoyed it, but it has been a lot of work for virtually no return. You know, I've been doing this for, I think, properly for about 3 years now, and I have made a handful of sales in that time, and none of them have been at a price that the item is actually worth. And when I first decided that I wanted to have a go at selling crocheted things, I made a promise to myself that I would not let it suck the joy out of the hobby for me, because I first started crocheting as a hobby, as something to help my mental health, something for me to do to feel a bit more like me, to get my creative energy going again. And for a long time it's been fine. I've been really enjoying it. Recently, not so much. This kind of came to a head a month, 6 weeks ago, when I just had a really bad week. In terms of mental health, it wasn't, as far as I'm aware, actively triggered by anything. It was just one of those weeks where I felt rubbish. And during that week, I realised that the one thing that has always, for the past few years, been able to lift me out of feeling like that, i.e. crochet, wasn't doing it. And that is because I was feeling pressure to make certain things that I didn't necessarily want to make, because I was building up stock to take to markets, and I realised that wasn't making me happy. It was in fact doing the exact opposite. And thought, right, this needs to stop. Excuse me, squeaky. Needs to stop. You know, crochet is something that I genuinely love. And I don't want to lose that. I need it to be a good hobby for me. I want to be able to make things for myself, for my friends, for my family. If I end up making things just for the hell of it, then sure, I'll see if I can sell them. But I'm no longer going to deliberately make things to sell. Deliberately crochet things to sell. We'll still be making things to sell. So I had a big think about it. I thought, right, okay, what can I do? And again, you may already know this if you've been here for more than a month. If you watched any of my previous videos, I have been dabbling with polymer clay, making stitch markers, making buttons, other bits and bobs. I thought, right, I quite enjoy that, but it's not something that I do to relax. You know, I've only ever done it with the view of selling things. And because I've been crocheting for a while, because I follow other people who crochet, who knit, who do other crafty things on Instagram, and some of them follow me, which is lovely, I actually have a pretty big network these days of people who will use stitch markers, who will use buttons, who will use other notions and accessories and so on. So that's what I'm going to do. That is what I'm going to focus on. There will be, to begin with, I think just those sort of small items, the polymer clay stuff while I'm getting going, because it's reasonably easy, reasonably quick, and I know what I'm doing now with those. I want to just improve my techniques in a couple of areas, make sure I'm producing things that people will actually want to buy and want to use. But I've got other ideas as well for other crafty related products. I may work on improving my machine sewing skills and make project bags, because one can never have too many project bags. And I do have a little stockpile of fabric. Having said I'm not going to crochet things to sell, I may on occasion crochet bags and then line them with fabric, because I do like making bags. Other ideas I've had, thanks actually to my dad and my stepmum this past, over Easter, in fact Easter weekend, something I'd sort of thought about anyway, but they suggested it, putting together little kits to make, so that other people can make simple things, write out a little pattern, include a crochet hook, a few stitch markers, that sort of thing, and some yarn to go with. Again, patterns for things like little bags for my fingerless gloves. I've got a couple of bigger things I want to properly write up the patterns for, so they will be for sale at some point. And what was the other thing I was about to mention? I can't believe I forgot this. This is one of the big things, is I am going to be spinning yarn specifically to sell. Not all the time. It's, again, I enjoy spinning. I don't want to make it stressful for myself. But, I already have some yarn that I have spun that is perfectly good yarn that I won't want to use. The colour's not right, or the thickness isn't right, or whatever. So at some point I will put those up for sale, and I will be spinning more for sale as well. I've did I mention briefly earlier? I think I did, that I have just bought a load more fibre. Some of that fibre I have bought specifically actually for a project I've got in mind, but some of the other bits I bought just because they're pretty, and I will probably spin those up to sell, because I've got, as I mentioned before, plenty of yarn already. I don't really need to spin yarn for myself. And again, if I do, I'll try and sort of make it for specific projects rather than just spinning it for the sake of it. So there's a bunch of ideas there. I've got a few more written down. But if you have any ideas for things that you would buy, if they were handmade and available for sale, let me know. All ideas are welcome. And watch this space. I will be keeping the business name the same. I will be keeping the logo the same, because that's how people know me. I'm happy with the name, I'm happy with the logo, and especially because I will still be running my markets as well, and all my vendors, again, know me under that name. I don't want to change that. I'm thinking I will probably change my colour scheme. Gemma's going to help me with a new palette, and possibly change up the fonts, although again I like the main one that I use, but she and I will talk about all this, and she's going to help me with a marketing strategy and all of that. So hopefully over the next few months I'll actually be making some money, which will be a very, very pleasant change, because again, another big sort of mental health meltdown trigger is the fact that I don't really have an income at the moment and haven't had for years now. I've got my disability benefits. For anyone who doesn't know, I am visually impaired. But that's not a huge amount. And we are, as a family, we are okay. We're not struggling. But the bills keep going up. Our income has gone up a little, but not as much as everything else has. And I think that's probably going to be the way of it for a while now. So if I can bring some income in myself, even if it's just for my own spending money, it's gonna take some pressure off. Gonna make me feel better about things. So onwards and upwards. I'm excited about the changes, and you'll have probably noticed if you follow me on Instagram that the things I'm posting about has changed a little. Everything's a bit more relaxed at the moment. I am sharing crochet projects still on there, but things that I'm just making for me or for friends or what have you. And there's been a bit of an emphasis on what I'm spinning recently. I'm not actively promoting the business at the moment because it is in the process of changing. So things are just ticking over, trying to sort of keep people engaged, keep people interested without actively promoting things that I'm not quite ready to promote yet. But yeah, watch this space. I will obviously let you know when the changes happen for real. Hopefully it'll be quite soon. I'm meeting Gemma for a working lunch, hopefully next week. We've had to reschedule it once already, but hopefully we can do it next week. And then it should be all systems go. Maybe. I hope. Alright, I have waffled on for quite long enough. I hope you have found at least some of this interesting. Thank you ever so much for being here. Just a couple of very quick final little bits. My next podcast episode will be, all going well, will be released on the 9th of May. As I mentioned earlier, my next market is on the 14th of June. More info in the description. And I think that's it. So again, let's get you commenting if you have watched to the end of this video. What emoji can I give you this time? I can't think of anything interesting, so just pop the yarn ball emoji in there. I know there is one at least on Android because I use it all the time. Hopefully there is if you are on Apple as well, or using a computer or whatever you're doing. But yeah, pop a little emoji in the comments. And say hello. I love to get chatting. It's really, really nice to say hi and get a little bit social in the comments. It always makes me smile. So if you've got anything at all to say, please do say it, or just wave and I'll wave back. But yeah, thank you again for being here, for joining me, for listening to my completely random rambling, putting it with my nonsense, and I shall come back and do it all again, hopefully in a couple of weeks' time. Alright, thanks again and take care.